The alarms screaming through the Seohei dawn made Yuna press her hands against her ears. She sat strapped in her seat, clutching Dubu's carrier against her chest. Inside, the honey badger made angry, chittering sounds. He did not like being locked up. He did not like the loud noises. Yuna did not like them either. "Everyone stay calm," Captain Bora's voice came through the speakers. Yuna knew that voice. It was her mother's voice. But it sounded different now, scared. "We're taking heavy fire. All personnel to emergency stations. Prepare for—" The ship lurched sideways. Yuna felt her stomach flip. Dubu's carrier flew from her hands and hit the wall. She heard him snarl. The lights went red. Then they went out completely. "Mommy!" Yuna screamed into the darkness. Something exploded. The sound was so loud that Yuna felt it in her bones. The ship was shaking apart. She could hear metal tearing, people shouting, and underneath it all, a strange clicking sound. It came from outside the ship, from whatever was attacking them. The emergency lights flickered on. Yuna saw her mother running down the corridor toward her. Bora's uniform was torn. Blood ran down her face, but her eyes were focused, determined. "Yuna, listen to me." Bora grabbed her daughter's shoulders. "We're going to the escape pods. Stay close. Do not let go of Dubu." Yuna nodded. Her hands shook as she picked up the carrier. Inside, Dubu pressed his nose against the mesh, sniffing the air. He smelled danger. Honey badgers always knew. They ran through tilting corridors. Other people pushed past them, all heading the same direction. Dr. Taman stumbled by, his leg bleeding badly. He carried a data pad clutched to his chest. "Captain, the attackers. They're not after the ship. They're hunting us. This is a hunt." Bora's face went hard. "Keep moving." They reached the pod bay. Only 3 pods remained. People were fighting to get inside. Yuna had never seen adults act this way before, pushing, shoving, screaming at each other. Then the wall exploded. Yuna flew backward. Her ears rang. Smoke filled the air. Through it, she saw something step through the hole in the wall. It walked on 2 legs like a person, but it was not a person. It was as tall as 2 men. Its body was covered in dark green scales. Its mouth had too many teeth. The creature looked at the humans. Then it made a sound, a laugh. It was laughing at them. "Run!" Bora shoved Yuna toward a pod. "Get inside now!" The creature moved fast, too fast. It grabbed a man and lifted him off the floor. Yuna heard bones breaking. She wanted to look away but could not move. Bora pulled out her service pistol. She fired 3 shots into the creature's head. It dropped the man and turned toward her, still laughing. The bullets had barely scratched it. "Yuna, go!" Other creatures were coming through the hole now. Different kinds. One looked like a giant insect. Another had wings. They moved through the pod bay like they owned it, like humans were nothing but toys. Bora fired again and again. She was backing toward the pod, putting herself between the monsters and Yuna. "Get in the pod! Launch it!" Yuna climbed inside. Her fingers fumbled with the carrier latch. Dubu squeezed out and climbed onto her shoulder. He was making a sound deep in his throat. Not scared, angry. He wanted to fight. "Mommy, come on!" Yuna reached out. The scaled creature grabbed Bora from behind. Its claws went through her uniform, through her body. Bora screamed, but she did not stop moving. She reached back and jabbed something into the creature's neck. An emergency fire suppressant canister. She triggered it. The creature shrieked and let go. Bora fell. She crawled toward the pod. Blood left a trail behind her. "Yuna," Bora's voice was weak now. "Listen to me. Listen carefully." "Mommy, no. Never stop fighting." Bora pulled herself to the pod door. She reached up and pressed the launch button. "Never show fear. Survive, baby. Just survive." The pod door slammed shut. Yuna screamed and beat on the glass. She could see her mother lying on the floor, could see the creatures moving toward her. Could see Bora smile one last time before the pod launched. The acceleration pushed Yuna back into the seat. Dubu dug his claws into her shoulder to hold on. Through the small window, Yuna watched the HFY dawn break apart. Escape pods scattered in all directions like seeds in the wind. Some had fire trails. They were hit, destroyed. But some made it through. Yuna counted. 7 pods, maybe 40 or 50 people total, out of 300. The pod shook as it entered atmosphere. Yuna held Dubu close and closed her eyes. She thought about her mother's last words. Never stop fighting. Never show fear. The pod crashed through trees and hit the ground hard. Everything went dark. When Yuna woke up, she was lying in mud. The pod door had broken open. Rain was falling. It was warm rain, and it smelled wrong. Not like home. Not like Earth rain. Dubu was licking her face. His rough tongue brought her fully awake. Yuna sat up slowly. Her head hurt. Her arm hurt. Everything hurt. She looked around. They were in a jungle. The trees were massive, with purple leaves. Strange sounds came from everywhere, clicking, howling, screeching, the sounds of a world that did not care if she lived or died. Yuna climbed out of the pod. She was still wearing her junior cadet uniform from the ship's youth program. It was torn now, dirty. She checked the pod's emergency supplies. A small first aid kit, a water purifier, a basic multi-tool, a survival blanket. Not much. Dubu jumped down beside her. He immediately started sniffing the ground, the air, the strange plants. Honey badgers were curious about everything, afraid of nothing. Something howled in the distance. It sounded big. It sounded hungry. Yuna picked up the multi-tool and held it tight. She looked at Dubu. Dubu looked back at her. His dark eyes were calm. Ready. Okay, Yuna whispered to him, to herself, to the jungle. Never stop fighting. She chose a direction and started walking. Dubu followed close beside her. Behind them, the broken pod slowly filled with rain. Ahead of them, the jungle waited. And somewhere in that jungle, the hunters were coming. But they did not know what they were hunting. They did not know that the small human child was from Earth. They did not know that Earth made the most dangerous survivors in the galaxy. They did not know that honey badgers had no fear. They would learn. Yuna disappeared into the purple jungle. The rain washed away her footprints. The first day of her nightmare had begun. For the hunters, their nightmare was just starting. 3 weeks had passed since the crash. Yuna sat in a tree, watching the clearing below. Her clothes were filthy now, torn in places. She had tied her hair back with strips of fabric from her uniform. Mud covered her face and arms. Not because she was dirty, because it hid her scent. Dubu sat on the branch beside her. He was eating something he had caught. Yuna did not look to see what it was. She had learned not to question what Dubu ate. He could eat things that would kill her. Poison plants, toxic insects, things with too many legs. Below them, 12 hunters moved through the clearing. The same scaled creatures from the ship. Yuna had learned their name by listening. Vral. They were trackers, killers. They thought they were hunting her. They were wrong. One Vral stopped. It raised its nose and sniffed. It said something in its clicking language. The others spread out. They had weapons, energy weapons that made the air shimmer when fired. Yuna had seen what those weapons did to trees, to animals, to people. She waited. Patience was important. Her mother had told her that once, during survival training on Earth. The hunter who waits wins, Bora had said. Yuna was only 8 years old then. Now she was still 8. But she felt older, much older. One Vral walked directly under her tree. Yuna could see the top of its head, could see the scales moving as it breathed. Her hand tightened on the sharpened stick she carried. Not yet. Not yet. The Vral kept walking. It moved toward the thing Yuna had left in the clearing. A piece of fabric from her uniform. Blood-stained. The Vral thought it was tracking her. The creature stepped on the covered pit. Yuna heard the wooden spikes crack as they went through the Vral's foot. The creature roared and fell. The other hunters rushed toward it. This was the mistake. This was what Yuna waited for. She whistled, a short, sharp sound. Dubu jumped from the tree. Honey badgers were small, only about 30 pounds, but what they lacked in size, they made up for in pure rage. Dubu hit the nearest Vral in the face. His claws raked across the creature's eyes. His teeth found the soft spot under the jaw. The Vral screamed. It grabbed at Dubu, but Dubu did not let go, never let go. That was the honey badger way. Bite and hold, and never stop. The other Vral turned toward the noise. This was Yuna's moment. She dropped from the tree. In her hands, she carried her weapons, a sharpened stick, a knife made from ship metal, a pouch of crushed plants. She ran at the closest Vral. It saw her coming and raised its weapon, but Yuna was small, fast. She slid under its aim and drove her stick into its knee. The Vral fell. She threw the plant powder into its face. The Vral started choking. The plants were poison, not to Dubu, not to the local animals, but to Vral, they burned. They killed. Chaos filled the clearing. Dubu was on his third Vral now. One was dead. One was dying. The honey badger's white stripe was red with blood. Not his blood, theirs. Yuna ran to the edge of the clearing. She made a sound. A clicking noise she had learned from listening to the Vral. It meant retreat in their language. 5 Vral ran toward the sound, toward her voice. They thought they were chasing prey. Yuna led them deeper into the jungle, to a place she had prepared, a place where another kind of hunter lived. The ground changed under her feet, became softer, wetter. She jumped over a log and kept running. Behind her, the Vral followed. They were faster than her, stronger. But they did not know this jungle like she did. Yuna reached the marker she had left, a pile of white stones. She turned left and kept going. The Vral did not turn. They went straight, into the mud, into the territory of the Deep Claw. The ground exploded. Massive claws erupted from below. The Deep Claw were even bigger than Vral. They lived underground. They felt vibrations. They protected their territory. Yuna heard the Vral screaming. She did not look back. She ran back toward the clearing, taking a different path. When she arrived, Dubu was sitting on a dead Vral. He was cleaning his paws. 4 Vral lay dead around him. 3 had run away. 1 was still in the pit, trying to climb out. Yuna walked to the pit. The Vral saw her and stopped moving. It stared at her. There was something in its eyes, something new. Fear. Yuna picked up a Vral weapon from one of the dead. She aimed it at the creature in the pit. Her hands did not shake. "Tell the others," she said. She did not know if it understood her words, but she thought it understood her tone. "Tell them to leave." She pulled the trigger. The weapon hummed. She had seen these weapons take down trees. She aimed it at a tree beside the pit and fired. The tree exploded. The Vral in the pit went very still. Yuna lowered the weapon. She whistled for Dubu. The honey badger jumped onto her shoulder. They left the clearing, left the dead Vral, left one alive to carry the message. That night, Yuna made camp in a cave. She had found several good caves. She moved between them, never stayed in one place too long. That was rule number 3. Rule number 1 was never stop moving. Rule number 2 was trust Dubu. She sat by a small fire and checked her supplies. The Vral weapons had power packs. She had collected 5. She did not know how to use them yet, but she would learn. Dubu curled up beside her. He was purring. That was how honey badgers showed they were happy, safe. Yuna stroked his fur. "We got 12 today," she told him. "Well, 7. The Deep Claw got the others. But we led them there, so it counts." Dubu closed his eyes. He did not care about counting. He cared about fighting, about protecting Yuna. That was enough. Yuna pulled out the datapad she had salvaged from her pod. It still worked, barely. She had been recording everything. Vral hunting patterns, their language, their weapons, their weaknesses. She also had a map, a rough one. She marked where the other escape pods had landed. 7 pods. She had found 2 of them, both empty, no bodies. That meant the survivors had moved, were still alive. Maybe. She did not go looking for them. Not yet. They would slow her down, make noise, leave tracks. And right now, the hunters were focused on her. One small target, easy to follow, hard to catch. As long as they chased her, they left the others alone. That was the plan. That was the only plan. Yuna lay down on the hard stone. Tomorrow she would move again, would set more traps, would learn more, would survive one more day. Dubu snored beside her. Somehow, in this nightmare jungle, on this death world, the honey badger slept peacefully. Because honey badgers did not worry, they did not fear. They just fought. Yuna closed her eyes. In the darkness, she could still see her mother's face, could still hear those last words, never stop fighting, never show fear. "I won't, Mommy," Yuna whispered. "I promise." Outside the cave, the jungle was alive with sounds. Clicks, howls, screams. Somewhere in that darkness, the remaining Vral were reporting back to their leaders, telling them about the small human, about the demon beast, about how 12 hunters went out and only 1 came back. The nightmare was spreading, but not for Yuna, for them. 2 months had passed. In a cave system 15 miles from the crash site, a human named Hanul studied the radio scanner. 23 survivors huddled in the darkness behind him. They were scared, hungry, tired, but alive. "Anything?" asked Young Sik. He used to be a cargo handler on the ship. Now he was their guard. He held a metal pipe like a weapon. "Same as yesterday," Hanul said. "The aliens are still talking about her." Everyone knew who her was. The child, the one with the animal. Survivors had different names for her. The ghost girl, the death child, the small terror. Hanul listened to the alien chatter. He had learned some of their languages over the weeks, enough to understand. "They're sending more hunters, a lot more. They want her dead." "How many has she killed?" asked Mireille. She was young, maybe 19. She helped care for the injured. Hanul checked his notes. He had been tracking the alien transmissions, counting. "By their count, 89, across all 7 species." Silence filled the cave. 89. 1 little girl, 1 animal. "That's impossible," someone whispered. "We should help her," Young Sik said. "Find her. Bring her here." "No." Hanul shook his head. "She's keeping them busy. As long as they hunt her, they ignore us. That's why we're still alive." It was a hard truth. A terrible truth. But it was true. Outside the cave, far across the jungle, Yuna crouched in the ruins of a Vral camp. Bodies lay everywhere, 12 of them, not all dead, some dying. Dubu was checking each one, making sure. Yuna had learned that the Vral had camps, supply stations, places where they rested between hunts. She had been watching this one for 3 days, learning their patterns, counting their numbers. Then, at dawn, she had attacked. The weapon she held now was Vral-made. It fired energy bolts. She had practiced with it for weeks, wasted precious power learning to aim, learning to kill efficiently. Now she barely missed. She grabbed a communication device from a dead Vral, pressed the button, spoke in their clicking language. The words came easier now. "This is the Death Child. Tell your leaders. Tell all 7 species. Leave this world or die like these." She dropped the device and whistled for Dubu. Time to go. More would come. They always came. They moved through the jungle like ghosts. Yuna knew every path now, every hiding spot, every dangerous area. The jungle had tried to kill her for 2 months. She had learned from it instead. Dubu suddenly stopped. His body went rigid. Yuna froze. When Dubu warned, you listened. Above them, something massive blotted out the sun. Wings, huge leather wings, a sky rend, the aerial hunters. Yuna dove into a bush. Dubu was already invisible in the undergrowth. They waited, silent, still. The sky wren circled lower. Its eyes scanned the ground, looking, searching. Yuna could see its talons, each one as long as her arm. Its beak could cut a person in half. She slowly reached into her pack, pulled out a small device, salvaged from the ship, an emergency flare. The sky wren landed. Its head turned, listening, hunting. Yuna pointed the flare at a tree 50 yards away, pulled the trigger. The flare shot out, bright red, burning hot. It embedded in the tree trunk. The sky wren's head snapped toward the light. It screeched and launched itself at the tree, talons extended, ready to kill. Yuna threw a rock in the opposite direction. Hard. It hit metal, an old piece of ship wreckage she had placed there days ago. The sound rang out, loud, clear. The sky wren spun in midair, confused. Two sounds, two directions. That's when the Thornback pack came. They had been tracking the same sounds. Thornbacks were ground hunters, big, armored, mean. They saw the sky wren in their territory, saw it as a threat. The species attacked each other. Yuna and Dubu were already running. She heard the sounds of battle behind them, screeching, roaring, let them fight, let them kill each other. She ran for an hour, finally stopped at a stream. Dubu drank. Yuna refilled her water container, checked her wounds. She had many now, scars on her arms, her legs, her face. Stories written in tissue, each one a lesson learned. 89, she said to Dubu. But they're learning. Getting smarter, sending more at once. Dubu made a huffing sound. He did not care how many came. He would fight them all. That night, Yuna made camp under a fallen tree. No fire. Fire drew attention. She ate ration bars from her dwindling supply and purple fruit that Dubu had tested. If Dubu could eat it, usually she could too. She heard sounds in the distance, many sounds, coming closer, lots of them. Yuna climbed the tree. In the moonlight, she saw them, hundreds of hunters, all 7 species, moving together, something that never happened. The species hated each other, but they hated her more. At the front of the army, a massive Vrawl walked, bigger than the others, covered in scars. It carried a staff with 7 symbols, one for each species, a leader, a war chief. Yuna understood. They were done playing. This was the final hunt. She counted. 300, maybe more, all coming for her, for one 8-year-old girl and a honey badger. She climbed down, looked at Dubu. We need to move, now. They ran through the night, but this time they did not run randomly. Yuna had a plan, a terrible plan, a plan that might work. She led them toward the ravine, the deep cut in the earth where she had hidden her greatest traps, the place she had been preparing for weeks, just in case. Behind her, the army followed. They were in no hurry. They thought they had won already, thought she was finally trapped. Yuna reached the ravine at dawn. It was a mile long, narrow, steep walls on both sides. At the far end, a dead end. No escape. She could hear the army, getting closer. She climbed up the ravine wall to a small cave. Dubu followed. Inside, she had stored things. Ship components, power cells, explosives from the emergency systems. She had placed them all along the ravine walls, dozens of them, wired together, waiting. The army entered the ravine. They filled it, wall to wall, hundreds of killers, all focused on the small cave where they had seen her climb. The massive Vrawl leader stepped forward. It raised its staff and spoke in a booming voice. Yuna could understand some of the words. Surrender, death, trophy. Yuna stood at the cave entrance, small, alone, holding Dubu. The entire army stared at her. She pulled out a data pad, pressed a button. Nothing happened. The Vral leader laughed. A terrible sound. It said something, mocking her. Yuna looked down at the pad, then up at the aliens. Then she smiled, a cold smile, an adult smile on a child's face. "I pressed it 5 seconds ago," she said in perfect Vral. "You should run now." The first explosion tore through the ravine wall, then the second, then all of them, at once. A chain reaction. Yuna and Dubu were already moving, deeper into the cave, through a tunnel she had found, a tunnel that led up and out. Behind them, the ravine collapsed. Thousands of tons of rock fell. The army disappeared under the avalanche. Buried. Gone. Yuna emerged on the other side. She looked back. Where the ravine had been was now just a pile of rubble. Dust rose into the sky. No sounds, no movement, nothing. 89 plus 127, she said quietly. She was keeping count. Always counting. 216 total. Dubu sat beside her. He looked at the destruction, then at Yuna, then he started cleaning his paws. Just another day. Yuna sat down. Her hands started shaking. Delayed reaction. She had held it together during the fight. Now it hit her. She was 8 years old. She had just killed over 100 beings. She closed her eyes, saw her mother's face. Never stop fighting. Never show fear. Survive. "I'm surviving, Mommy," Yuna whispered. "I'm surviving." She stood up. Dubu jumped onto her shoulder. They walked away from the destruction, away from the death, into the jungle. Behind them, alien sensors finally detected what happened. Commanders received reports. 1 ravine, 1 child, 127 elite hunters dead. The word spread through all 7 species. The death child was real. The ghost beast was unstoppable. Hunting them was suicide, but they could not stop, would not stop. Their pride demanded it. Their honor required it. They would send more, always more. And Yuna would be waiting. 4 months after the crash, Elder Sorinth of the Malek sat in the council chamber. Around him sat leaders from all 7 species. Something that had never happened before. Natural enemies, predators who killed each other as readily as they killed prey. But fear made strange allies. 3 territories have collapsed, said a Kresh commander. Its insect eyes clicked nervously. My hunters refuse to patrol the western quadrant. They say the Death Child lives there. It is one small creature, growled a Thornback warlord. We are thousands. This is ridiculous. You say this, clicked Huntmaster Grax, because you have not hunted her. I have. I sent 200 warriors. 31 returned. Silence filled the chamber. Elder Sorinth spoke. His voice was old, tired. I have studied the pattern. I have watched the recordings from our fallen hunters. I have reached a conclusion. We have made a terrible mistake. What mistake? The Skyrend chief demanded. We assumed humans were prey, Sorinth said. We were wrong. Humans are apex predators, perhaps the most dangerous kind. They are persistence hunters. They never stop. They never tire. And they fear nothing when protecting their own. 1 child, the Thornback began. Is from Earth, Sorinth interrupted. I accessed their destroyed ship's database. Earth. A death world even by our standards. Every creature there evolved to kill or be killed. Every human survived that world. Think about what that means. The council shifted uncomfortably. The child does not fight us with strength, Sorinth continued. She fights with intelligence, with patience, with tactics we do not understand. She turns us against each other, uses our pride against us, learns our languages, studies our weaknesses. She is not prey. She is a predator teaching us fear. Far from the council, Yuna crouched in darkness. Around her, 23 Voidfang hunters moved. They were night predators, silent, deadly. They could see in complete darkness. They thought they had the advantage. They thought wrong. Yuna could not see in the dark like they could, but she did not need to. She knew where they were, could smell them, could hear them breathing. 4 months in the jungle had sharpened her senses, made her something more than human, something less than human, something in between. Dubu was beside her. His white stripe glowed faintly in the darkness. The Voidfang saw it, focused on it. Big mistake. The stripe was painted, glow paste from the ship's emergency supplies. Dubu was 10 feet away, silent, waiting. The first Voidfang lunged at the fake stripe. Its claws went through empty air. Yuna's knife went through its throat. The others realized their mistake. Too late. Dubu attacked from behind, Yuna from the front. They moved like one creature, one weapon, girl and animal, human and beast, perfectly synchronized. The fight lasted 3 minutes. When it ended, 23 Voidfang lay dead. Yuna and Dubu stood among them, breathing hard, bleeding, but alive. Yuna took a communication device, spoke in Voidfang tongue. "I am Yuna. I am human. I am from Earth. Leave my world or die." She smashed the device and walked away. Behind her, the bodies told their story. The night hunters had been hunted. The darkness had betrayed them. Morning came. Yuna found a stream and washed the blood away. She was tired. So tired. 4 months of running, fighting, surviving. No rest, no safety, just the next fight. Always the next fight. She looked at her reflection in the water, did not recognize the face staring back. Sharp, hard. Eyes too old for 8 years, scars on her cheeks, lips pressed thin. This was not the girl who got on the HFY Dawn. That girl was gone. Dubu nudged her hand. She scratched his ears. He was scarred, too. Cuts that had healed, fur missing in patches, but still fierce. Still fighting. "We can't keep this up forever," she told him. "There's too many of them." Dubu huffed. He did not care about numbers. Never had, never would. A sound made them both freeze. Human voices, close. Yuna grabbed her weapons, moved silently toward the sound. Through the trees she saw them. 3 humans, 1 man, 2 women. They wore ragged clothes, carried makeshift weapons. Survivors. The man was Youngsik. Yuna recognized him from the ship. Cargo bay worker. The younger woman was Mirai, medical assistant. The older woman she did not know. They were tracking something, following marks on the trees, marks that Yuna had left. "We're close," Youngsik said. "The signs are fresh." "Are you sure this is smart?" Mirai asked. "What if she doesn't want to be found?" "We need her," Youngsik said. "She's been protecting us, fighting for us. We owe her." Yuna stayed hidden, watched them. Part of her wanted to step out, to see friendly faces, to not be alone. But another part, the part that had kept her alive, said no. Groups were slow. Groups were loud. Groups died. She turned to leave, stepped on a branch. It cracked. The 3 humans spun around, weapons raised. "Don't shoot," Yuna said. She stepped into view, hands up, Dubu beside her. They stared at her. She saw shock in their faces, horror. She knew what they saw. A child covered in scars, wearing alien armor pieces, carrying weapons, eyes that had seen too much death. "Yuna," Mirai whispered, "you're just a little girl." "No," Yuna said quietly, "not anymore." "We've been looking for you," Youngsik said. "We want to help. We're 23 people in a cave system. We have supplies, safety. Come with us." Yuna shook her head. "You're alive because they're hunting me. If I join you, they'll find you. Kill everyone. Then we fight together," Youngsik said. "You'll die," Yuna said, simply, without emotion. "I've killed 216 of them. I've learned their languages. their tactics, their weaknesses, and I'm still barely surviving. You'll last maybe a day." "We can learn," Mireille said. Yuna looked at them, saw hope in their faces. Hope was dangerous. Hope got you killed. But she also saw determination, courage, human courage. "Stay hidden," Yuna finally said. "Keep quiet. Keep moving. If you hear fighting, run the other way. Don't try to help me. Don't try to find me. Just survive until—" "Until what?" Youngsik asked. Yuna had no answer. Until rescue? No one was coming? Until the aliens gave up? They never would. Until she won? One child could not win against entire species. "Just survive," she said again. "That's the only until that matters." She turned to leave. Stopped, reached into her pack, pulled out a data pad. "This has everything I've learned. Their patrol patterns, their camps, safe zones, dangerous areas. If something happens to me, use it." Mireille took the pad. "Nothing's going to happen to you." Yuna smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Something happens to everyone eventually." She whistled for Dubu. They disappeared into the jungle. Behind her, the three humans watched her go. A ghost, a legend, a little girl who had become something else. That night, Huntmaster Grax sat in his war tent. Around him, maps of the jungle, red marks where humans had been seen, black marks where hunters had died. There were so many black marks. A messenger entered. "Grax, the Void Fang pack, all 23, dead." The child spoke on their communicator, said her name, said she is human, said to leave or die. Grax closed his eyes. 200 hunters. 3 months of searching, countless deaths. And the child was not weaker. She was stronger, faster, smarter. "She is teaching us," Grax said quietly. "Every death is a lesson. Every hunt is training. She is not trying to survive. She is trying to win." "One child cannot win," the messenger said. Grax looked at the maps, at all the black marks. "Can't she?" He stood, made a decision, a final decision. "Gather every available hunter, every species, every warrior, 2,000 soldiers. We end this. We hunt her with everything we have. She cannot escape 2,000. The messenger hesitated. "What if she does?" Grax picked up his weapon. "Then we learn what it means to be prey." Far away, Yuna lay in a cave. Dubu slept beside her. She did not sleep, could not sleep. Her mind was working, planning. They would come with more. Always more. Eventually, the numbers would be too great, but not yet. Not today. She touched Dubu's head, felt him purr. In this nightmare world, he was her only constant, her only friend, her only family. "Tomorrow we fight again," she whispered, "and the day after, and every day after that, until we can't anymore." Dubu's eyes opened, looked at her, promised without words, "I'll fight with you. Forever." Yuna closed her eyes, tried to rest. Tomorrow was coming, and with it, more death. 6 months after the crash, a ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The UES Busan's Pride hung in orbit above Krava 9. Captain Daehyun sat in the command chair, studying the planet below. "Scans show 38 human life signs," the sensor officer reported. "Scattered across the southern continent." "Only 38? Daehyun's face went dark. "The Seohei Dawn carried 300. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission, multiple sources, all 7 major species on the planet." Daehyun frowned. 7 species transmitting at once? That was unusual. "Put it through." The voice that came through was translated by the computer. Multiple species speaking, all saying the same thing. "Human ship, we detect your presence. We will not interfere with rescue operations. Take your survivors. Take them now, please." "Please?" Daehyun turned to his communications officer. "Did they just say please?" "Yes, sir. All 7 species are. They're begging us to retrieve our people." Something was very wrong. Predator species did not beg, did not say please, did not cooperate with each other. Daehyun had studied this planet. It was a death world. The species here hunted for sport, killed for pleasure. Get me more information. What happened down there? A weak signal came through. Human, male, barely alive. This, Dr. Taman, survivor, need to know about the girl. Stabilize that signal, Daehyun ordered. Doctor, this is Captain Daehyun. We're here to rescue you. Hold on. No, listen. The girl, Yuna, she's been fighting. 6 months, alone. The bridge went silent. One child? Daehyun said slowly. For 6 months? Not child anymore. Devil. Nightmare. Killed hundreds. Aliens terrified. Take her away. Take her home. Before. The signal died. Daehyun looked at his crew, saw the disbelief in their faces. A child, surviving on a death world, fighting alien predators. For 6 months. Impossible. Ambassador Sujin, Daehyun said, contact the alien species. I want answers. 20 minutes later, they had answers. And Daehyun wished they did not. The aliens told them everything. The hunt, the deaths, the tactics. 273 confirmed kills. More estimated. 7 species pushed to the edge of collapse. All because of one 8-year-old girl and one animal. They want her gone, Ambassador Sujin said quietly. They're offering safe passage, no attacks, no interference. They just want her off their planet. How? Daehyun asked. How does a child do this? They say she's from Earth, sir. They researched it. They say Earth makes the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Every human survived that death world. That makes us all survivors, all hunters. Daehyun looked at the planet. Thought about Earth, about humanity's history, about how humans had hunted mammoths, had tamed wolves, had conquered every environment, ice, desert, mountains, oceans. Nothing stopped humans, nothing ever stopped humans. Find her, Daehyun said. Find this girl. Bring her home. Mireille ran through the jungle. Behind her, Youngsik and 4 others followed. They had a location, a set of coordinates, where Yuna had last been seen. There, Mireille pointed. Ahead, a small camp, hidden under fallen trees, covered in leaves, invisible unless you knew where to look. Around the camp, warning signs, bones, alien bones, arranged in patterns, a message. Stay away. Yuna, Mireille called. It's us. The rescue ship is here. We're going home. Silence. Then movement. Yuna stepped out from the shadows. Dubu was on her shoulder. She held a weapon. Energy rifle, alien-made. Her eyes scanned them, checked for threats. Always checking. You're alive, Youngsik said. Yes, Yuna said. Her voice was flat, empty. You all made it. 38 of us, Mireille said. Thanks to you. You kept them busy, kept them away from us. Yuna nodded, did not smile, did not show emotion. The ship. It's really here? In orbit. They're sending drop ships. We're going home, Yuna. We're going home. For the first time in 6 months, something changed in Yuna's eyes. A flicker, a crack in the armor. Home, she whispered. Dubu made a sound. Yuna touched his head. You're coming too. Earth has veterinarians, real food, safety. The rescue drop ships landed at a secure location. 38 survivors gathered, thin, scarred, exhausted, but alive. They boarded the ships in silence. Too tired for joy, too broken for celebration. Yuna was the last to board. She stood at the ramp, looking back at the jungle. 6 months, 183 days, 4,392 hours. She had counted every one. Miss? A soldier stood beside her. We need to go. Yuna climbed aboard. Dubu stayed on her shoulder. She found a seat away from others. People tried to talk to her. She did not answer. did not know how anymore. The dropship lifted off. Through the window, Yuna watched the jungle shrink, watched Krava 9 become smaller, watched her nightmare fade. On the ground, 7 species watched the human ships leave. In the council chamber, Elder Sorinth spoke to the assembled leaders. We hunted humans because they looked weak, small, soft. We were fools. That child taught us what humans are. What Earth made them. They are not the strongest, not the fastest, but they never stop, never quit, never surrender. They bond with the fiercest creatures. They fight with intelligence. They survive what should kill them. What do we do now? Asked the Kresh commander. We petition for peace, Sorinth said. We pray we never meet more like the Death Child. We remember what happened here. We tell our children. We never forget. The council agreed. Unanimous, all 7 species. For the first time in their history, they shared one goal. Stay away from humans. Always. Aboard the Busan's Pride, Captain Daehyun met with Ambassador Sujin. On the screen between them, footage played. Recovered from alien hunters. Recordings of Yuna fighting. A small girl using traps. Tactics. Weapons. Leading hunters into ambushes. Turning species against each other. Surviving impossible odds. She's 9 now, Daehyun said. Still a child. Is she? Sujin asked. Look at her eyes, Captain. Those aren't a child's eyes. Daehyun had met Yuna, had tried to talk to her. She had asked one question. Did everyone make it? When told 38 survived, she nodded, said nothing else, walked away with her animal. The aliens sent a formal communication, Sujin said. They want a peace treaty. They want to avoid war with humanity. They're terrified, Captain. 7 predator species, thousands of years of hunting, all terrified of us because of what one child did. Good, Daehyun said. Let them be afraid. Let the galaxy know. Humans are not prey. We survived Earth, the worst death world in our sector. Every environment tried to kill us. We're still here. Still going. Nothing stops us. He looked at the footage again. At the small girl with her honey badger, at the terror she created. She reminded them what it means to hunt humans, what happens when you threaten us, when you hurt us. We don't get scared, we get angry, and angry humans are the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. In her quarters, Yuna sat on a bed, a real bed. Clean sheets, safe walls, no danger, no threats. She should feel relieved, feel happy, feel something. But she felt empty. Dubu slept beside her. She stroked his fur, counted his scars, matched them to her own. They were the same now. Both survivors, both fighters, both broken. A message appeared on her datapad. From Captain Daehyun. When you're ready, come to the bridge. I want to hear your story. But only when you're ready. Yuna deleted the message. She would never be ready. Could never explain. How could she tell them what 6 months alone did to a person? How fighting for your life every day changed you? How killing became normal? How fear became something you gave, not felt? She lay down, closed her eyes, tried to sleep. But sleep did not come easy. It never did anymore. In the darkness behind her eyelids, she saw them. The aliens, the jungle, the bodies, the blood. She opened her eyes, stared at the ceiling. Home was weeks away. Earth, real gravity, real sky, real life. Could she go back? Could she be normal again? Could she be a child? No, she whispered to the empty room. I can't. But she could try. For her mother, for the survivors, for Dubu, she could try. 10 years later, Lieutenant Yuna stood on a training field. Around her, new soldiers, young, eager, naive. She was teaching them survival, combat, tactics, the things she learned on Krava 9. Dubu sat beside her. Old now, gray in his fur, slower, but still fierce, still hers. Never underestimate your enemy, Yuna told the soldiers. But never underestimate yourself either. You're human. You're from Earth. That means something. It means you're a survivor. Every cell in your body comes from the toughest species in the galaxy. Act like it. The soldiers listened. They had heard the stories. The Death Child, the girl who fought 7 species alone, the legend. What they did not know was that the girl was still there, still inside, still scared, still fighting every day. The war on Krava 9 ended. But the war in Yuna's mind never did. She dismissed the soldiers, sat down on the grass. Dubu climbed into her lap. Getting him there took longer now. He was old, tired, but still determined. "We survived, buddy," Yuna said quietly. "We made it home. We did what Mom said, never stopped fighting." Dubu purred. A soft, rumbling sound, content, safe, home. Yuna looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, Krava 9 still existed. The aliens still remembered, still feared, still told stories of the Death Child and the Ghost Beast. Good, she thought. Let them remember. Let them fear. Let the galaxy know. Humans are not prey. We're Earthborn. We're survivors. We're hunters. And we never, ever give up. Dubu fell asleep in her arms. Yuna held him close. In a universe of predators, a little girl and a honey badger had taught the hardest lesson. The scariest monster isn't the biggest or strongest. It's the one that refuses to die. The one that keeps fighting. The one from Earth.